It's time for your Low Country Real Estate Market Update. It's the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show. Brian is one of the top 1% real estate agents in Charleston. Find him online at listingsincharleston.com. That's listingsincharleston.com. Or call him at 843-345-1273. Now, broadcasting from the WTMA studios, here's your host, Brian Beatty.
Good morning, Charleston, and welcome to another edition of the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show here on the Big Talker, 1250 WTMA and WTMA.com. I am your host, Brian Beatty. 8 years I've been on this program, giving you my expert opinion and reviews of the real estate market and the real estate process, so that when it comes time for you to buy, sell, or invest in real estate, you're an informed consumer. You know the right questions to ask. You know what's actually happening in this market. You can separate some of the hype from the fact based on what I experience as somebody that sells about, well over 100 homes a year here in Charleston, over 1,000 in my career here in Charleston, about $500 million in real estate volume represented. And so we bring this information to you so that you guys know what's going on in the world of real estate. Now, if you'd like to reach out to me, you're thinking about buying, selling, or investing in real estate, we'd love the opportunity to work with you. My direct number, my cell phone is 843-400-8009. That's 843-400-8009, or you can visit us online at listingsincharleston.com. That's listingsincharleston.com. And, of course, send an email, Brian with an I, Brian at brianbeattyteam.com. Beatty is spelled B-E-A-T-T-Y. So, great show lined up for you. I really want to dive into the market stats. Of course, I do want to talk a little bit about the impact that the coronavirus and the stock market is having on our market. What's happening locally. There are some real but somewhat indirect impacts to us. As you know, things that we've been experiencing, and just kind of talk about where we are as a market right now, and I think what's going to happen here over the next several months. But first, I want to help you guys understand your insurance policies. You know, as we approach spring, I think it's really important for you to have a cursory review of your insurance products so that you know the right questions to ask. You're prepared. And to help me do that, I've got BJ Guido with Coastal Living Partners on the line. BJ, are you there?
I'm here.
Hey there.
Good afternoon. Hey, how are you doing, Brian?
Fantastic. So, as we approach spring, I really always advocate people just have a chat with their insurance agent. Go over your homeowner's insurance. Go over your flood insurance policy. Ask questions. Create scenarios. And say, in these scenarios, what would I be covered for? What's your take on that?
I couldn't agree more. It's especially as you had mentioned, we're coming close to springtime, and then following that, we'll be rolling right into the hurricane season. And a lot of people really don't understand how their policies work. So yes, getting a second opinion or just an overall review with your current insurance agent is very, very good idea.
And so we've had 5 years now of weather that has caused in excess of $10 billion in damage. And so, obviously not to be an alarmist here, but we've had our fair share of it here in the Low Country. And hurricane season starts June 1st?
Absolutely, yeah, and that's for sure. We've had them back-to-back years here, and so, good possibility if the trend holds that we will get some form of, be affected in some way, shape, or form in this year as well.
So one of the things that, I always advocate when people are shopping for real estate, and of course that they find a home that they like, and now it's time to select their insurance carrier, right? They go through a bunch of different scenarios. They say, well, in this scenario, here's your deductible, here's your total payment. And it's not always the best idea to, especially with insurance, go for the least expensive option possible, which is just kind of ingrained in our DNA, right? We always try to save money somewhere, but if there is the possibility, which seems to be fairly strong, at least over the past few years, of having to tap into that insurance coverage, you need to make sure you're covered for certain things. So, like as an example, BJ, what's the difference between like a named storm and a hurricane as it relates to insurance coverage?
So, if we're hit by a hurricane, of course, they're both going to work the same way from a deductible standpoint. But if we have a tropical storm, the named storm deductible would kick in on the named storm policy, whereas if you have a straight hurricane deductible on your policy, your all other perils deductible would be the one that would take into effect should your house sustain damage during a tropical storm.
Okay. So can you maybe talk a few numbers, if you can, as to like what that would look like, the difference in deductible between a named storm or a hurricane?
Sure. So let's just say you and I are neighbors, and we have you have a named storm policy, and I have a hurricane deductible policy, and we both have $500,000 worth of dwelling coverage on our house. And your named storm deductible is 2%, and my hurricane deductible is 2%, and we both have $2,500 all other peril deductible. So we both sustain damage during a tropical storm. Well, your deductible before the insurance company is going to participate in repairing your home is going to be $10,000. My deductible is going to be $2,500 because the tropical storm, I apologize, would fall under all of the peril deductible for someone that has a straight hurricane deductible policy.
Okay. And then how about things like, earthquake coverage and, fire and just things like that? How often do you see people kind of passing on those different types of coverages?
Well, the fire would fall under your all other perils. So a standard homeowner's policy without any additional endorsements is going to cover you for everything but earthquake and flooding. So the earthquake, I see that I'd say around 30% of the people, of my clients, will get it. A lot of them inquire about it. They don't realize of the extra cost. They don't think it's as expensive as it is. So that, they will inquire about it.
Okay. And then let's switch our conversation to flood insurance.
Okay.
Specifically, private insurance for flood insurance. Have you seen, especially in some of these older homes, right? Let's say it was built in, the early 70s and it's on a slab, but it's in a high flood area, certainly parts of West Ashley, James Island, even some areas in Isle of Palms with some of those older J.C. Long style buildings.
Right.
How do you go about kind of analyzing their different options from a flood insurance perspective?
Well, so we always try to run it through FEMA first. And as you mentioned, the older homes, a lot of those are not built to proper elevations, or they're not vented properly. So that's going to make their premiums substantially higher than if they were to the current code. So then what we'll do is we'll shop into the private flood market. Companies like Lloyd's of London or people like that. And a lot of times we're able to get them flood insurance a little bit cheaper than the FEMA policy. And in some cases even have a little bit higher coverage because the FEMA policies are capped at $250,000 worth of coverage on your home and $100,000 on contents, whereas the private flood will allow you to cover the complete dwelling coverage of your home, and you can tailor your contents coverage to what you want. Okay.
Good to know. So, aside from me kind of asking you specific questions, what do you normally go through with people this time of year in preparation for, what might be a fairly active spring and summer?
Well, I like to show them kind of the exercise that we went through with, saying that we had a named storm policy versus a hurricane policy, so they understand exactly how the policy is going to work should they be affected by the storm. And then I like to show them the different deductible options. Everybody thinks that they're saving so much more money by going with higher deductibles, and that's not always the case. With some companies, yes, you will save a substantial amount, but with other companies, it's really not worth. So in the case that we were using the $500,000 on the dwelling, with most companies, you could drop that down to a 1% deductible. So now we only have a $5,000 deductible, and you're only going to pay maybe $100 more a year. So I just really like to explain exactly what they own, how it works, So when and if they do need to lean on their insurance policy to repair their home, that there's no surprises for them.
Okay. At what point does somebody's cost of insurance go up, assuming they've had a claim or two or three? How does that work exactly?
Well, once you file a claim, whether the insurance company pays out or not, you have filed the claim with the insurance company. That stays on your insurance record, so to speak, for 6 years. Of course, if they pay out, then it's going to affect your premium more so than if they don't. But it still will have an adverse effect on your premium moving forward. It's after, I would say, if you've got 3 claims on your record within a 6-year period, there's a large possibility that the insurance companies are not going to insure you. Okay.
Have you had clients that have happened to?
I've not had any that we've had to deny claims, but another thing I failed to mention, an act of nature or an act of God, such as a hurricane, that does not affect your insurance record. It's on there, but it will not affect your premium. It's stuff like a fire or theft, or you have a water pipe burst in your house and cause damage. Those types of things are what are going to affect your rate, but no act of nature is going to.
Okay. That's all really good stuff. I'm sure people have a lot of questions for you, and we don't have time to cover all those. So, BJ, what's the best way for people to get in contact with you?
They can either call me directly at my office, which is 843-410-2564, or they may email me at bj@coastallivingconsultants.com, and consultants is plural.
BJ@coastallivingconsultants.com. BJ, I really appreciate it. BJ works with a lot of agents and clients on my team to help them with their insurance needs. So if you ever need anything, feel free to reach out to him. And of course, email is bj@coastallivingconsultants.com, or you can always reach out to me, 400-8009. That's 400-8009, or go to our website, listingsincharleston.com, and we'll get you in touch with BJ as well. BJ, thanks so much and enjoy your weekend.
You too, Brian. Thanks so much. Have a great day.
All right, guys, so when we come back, we're going to talk about what's happening in the real estate market right now. I want to read off some stats. I want to talk about what the impact of all of these refinances have had on our market, given the drop in interest rates from the stock market frenzy, and how coronavirus is just kind of playing into all this. So some interesting stuff to think about when we come back right here on the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show on the Big Talker, 1250 WTMA and WTMA.com.
It's the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show. Broadcast Saturday mornings at 9 and Sunday mornings at 10 on the Big Talker, 1250 WTMA.